What is up, you guys? Welcome back to Twink Revolution. I'm Sam.
And I'm Gian, and I'm so scared.
I know, it's a spooky episode. I mean, have you seen Nancy Pelosi's Botox work? Horrifying.
It is coming up on Halloween again.
Yeah.
But it feels like only yesterday.
It really does. It's been a year.
Yeah, that's wild. I'm not doing anything for Halloween.
We might do a live stream.
Well, I'm not doing any things I would usually do for Halloween, which would be being a mess somewhere in a poorly thought out costume.
Yeah, doing like pills in a shitty warehouse owned by like Asian like mafia members in the San Francisco Bay Area until like 7 a.m.
Yeah, the good old days.
Or like my first Halloween in the Bay Area where we saw fucking Moby at like some like shitty warehouse party.
Holy shit, that was so funny. Yeah, turns out Moby is a DJ. Who knew? And God, who's the other fucking tragic fucker? He's the one who directs the he's the conductor for like the YouTube Symphony Orchestra or some shit.
Oh my God.
He wore a leather jacket and stood with a laptop doing DJing, and he's tragic as shit.
Shaved head and like big ass glasses, like let's go funky disco beats. Brum, brum, brum.
No, but Moby was actually okay.
I can't tell a difference. I was so
Mason Bateman, Mason Bates. What the fuck? Now I'm getting Bates Hotel because I've got Halloween on the brain.
I think I was the only one not in a like sobriety state of mind because
Mason fucking Bates. That's the guy who was he's the one who was the he was playing in the main room, and then after him was Moby DJ.
Okay. See, I didn't dress like a hoochie whore. Like I wore like a giant like lion onesie, so I was warm, so I could feel my party favors. But everyone else was like dressed like sluts, and we're like, I'm cold, I can't feel anything. I'm like,
yeah,
no.
I think by the end of that night we bonded because you had body warmth left.
Yeah.
And I was like, Sam, I am coming to cuddle up against you because I am so fucking cold.
If you want to bring all of the like slutty twinks on Halloween to the yard at an outdoor party, just wear a giant warm outfit, and literally they'll all just like, can I be on your body? And I'm like, sure.
Yeah.
It works.
No, it did. Yeah, it worked on me.
I may have not looked sexy, but I brought in all the sexy bitches. It's like a magnet.
Hoochie magnet.
Yeah. So many.
Hussy magnet.
Oh.
Yeah. No. So anyway, I don't know. I'm not feeling the vibes this time around.
I don't feel like getting COVID to wear a slutty outfit on Halloween.
Well, but it's not even clear where you would go wear your slutty outfit.
Yeah, it'd be like a party of like 10 people, or like 12 by 10 apartment.
Right. And that all just feels. I think I've been sort of working up to this this hypothesis that like my COVID depression is sort of has taken up root sufficiently that to dislodge it by reminding me of how much better things used to be will make it worse. Like a sad Halloween party would be worse for my mental health right now than just no Halloween party.
So you're in like a perpetual K-hole of like contentness for like being sad that you just don't want to like break out of it and realize that you're addressing
I don't want to open the doors of perception right now. I think that would be very bad for
I think
my
I'm
mental
very
health.
similar. I'm like, like every day it feels the same, except for podcast world, which is pretty depressing. And like the Twitter topics change. Like that's the only thing that lets me know the world's moving is like Twitter.
Twitter's moved on to a new controversy.
And doing new episodes for like Twink Rev. Like
yeah, I count the days in Twink Rev episodes.
Yeah.
My goodness.
It's the only thing that keeps me sane, I swear to God.
Well, and it's not doing that for me, certainly.
Yeah.
I stopped serving that purpose a long time ago.
Uh-huh.
That's fine. I'm enjoying my insanity. I'm just, I'm leaning into it, as it were.
Yeah.
Fuck, the world sucks so bad.
I'm just gonna get into like Gwyneth Paltrow, like goop shit where I'm just like, oh, I can solve my problems by buying $20,000 jade eggs from my like asshole and like vampire spray to like get rid of my bad like chakras.
Excellent.
Both things are real, like the like jade eggs and like the vampire spray.
I got it. Yeah. Believe me, I've just, that's another one actually where not knowing is kind of, I'm holding on by a thread here. And I'm aware of the Goop line of products, but I'm not intimately familiar with them, and I'd like to keep it that way if possible.
The funniest thing I've seen is like eating Gwyneth Paltrow's diet for a day, and everyone does it. And it's like 5 p.m. Like, I just want some solid food. So there's like bone broths and like green juices and like, here's like a light salad of like some pumpkin seeds and like, I don't know, a weird dressing. And it's like, and then you get like one meal, it's like a stir fry of like mushrooms and vegetables, and that's pretty much all you eat.
Ugh, depressing. Well, you know what's not so depressing is if you remember last year's was it Spooky Slutty Skeletons episode, our very special Halloween episode. One of the most beloved features of that was our short erotic story contest. I was too COVID depressed to do that this year. But instead what we did was we got a Mad Lib together.
Yeah.
And we got our most loyal Twink Rev degenerates to help complete it. And I've not seen this yet, but Sam, as the adjudicator of the Mad Lib, have you seen the results?
I have seen the results.
Okay.
I love Mad Libs. So.
Okay, great. Well, so I present to you the Twink Revolution Mad Lib 2020. Tonight is the night when all of the slutty monsters come out to fuck slippery witches with big scrotums and pink shoes, make potions and very spooky brews. Vampires with faggots and long red capes visit friends and search for neck napes. Ogres and ghosts sometimes slide and play on this oozing October day. Oh my God. All the trick-or-treaters lick and hunt for cock and a score. Sorry, for a cock and a scare, dressed up as princesses and cowboys here and there. Have a gape Halloween in 2020. That was marvelous. Well, thank you for that. Anyway, enough fucking Halloween bullshit. I'm over it. I'm over it. See you again in 2021, bitches.
We have real scary stuff to talk about, like election mania. People are like losing their fucking minds because the election's next week, and I didn't realize they were so close together, Halloween and elections.
They kind of always are pretty close together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've just been noticing everyone is losing their fucking minds. And it's a nervous energy. I wouldn't even say it's like a strictly partisan issue in terms of like the people who are really losing their minds, the ones who have no investment in the actual outcome of the election. There's just a sort of generalized sense of dread that they might like be wrong about something. I don't even know. I don't even understand the fucking psychology of it, but it's bugging the shit out of me.
Yeah, people keep snapping at me who normally don't because I'm calling out Biden for being problematic. And it's like, everyone who follows me, I assume, knows that Trump isn't very good. Like, so I'm going to point out that Biden's not a good choice either. Like, voting Biden's not.
Vote blue no matter who.
It's not good.
Yeah, no, it's just people are insane.
People are trying to like justify like he's actually not as much of a war hawk as he seems.
Oh my God.
And then like share like some like Middle East eye thing on like Yemen. It's like he was president or vice president for like 3 of those years, and 100,000 people have died from famine and like war.
Yeah, that was one of the weirder fucking pieces of cope I've ever seen, which was, yeah, there's articles as well like, actually, Biden is not the hawk. Trump is the hawk. I'm like, they can just both be bad. We don't have to. I don't get how people muster the enthusiasm for this fucking candidate. He is really bad.
Yeah.
There's really not much to like about the guy, except the fact that he's not Trump. And it turns out there's not much to recommend anything.
Right.
But no, people just seem very on edge. I've just been noticing, like, yeah, as you say, people would usually just be like, whatever don't give a shit are losing their cool en masse.
Yeah, I think it's hilarious. Like, and it's kind of like the dark voice in my head who's kind of like laughing at the world, kind of, but like sexier. And I'm not gonna like cut my face open. If I'm gonna get work done, I'm gonna like pay thousands of dollars and do it.
Yeah, nice, no scars. Yeah.
I'm gonna get some like big, like luscious, like Slavic lips, like
Ceausescu lips.
Yeah. Oh my god, I would look so great with those. Yeah. But also I feel like I don't like needles, so.
Yeah, I mean, it is an election of no real significance because the only thing you can guarantee is the status quo will be maintained.
Yeah.
That is the inevitable outcome of this. Unless like Howie Hawkins or Gloria La Riva unexpectedly win a majority. That would be quite a turnout for the books, but I don't like.
That'd be pretty boss.
I mean, that'd be the most amusing outcome possible, honestly.
Yeah, I would love it.
No, but my kind of black pill nihilism has given way to just like all I can do is sit back and laugh at this shit because it is so absurd that people are trying to like whip up the vote for Joe Biden, the most uninspiring careerist politician known to man, to counter the threat of like bad Cheeto Man 45. He was also just a complete fucking joke, and like, what are we meant to do? The joke is on us. Ha ha ha. I'm actually laughing. I'm not even mad.
I'm so like apathetic to like electoralism at this point because like in the US, like there's not really a chance for third parties to even play an active role in
wonder if
winning.
That's deliberate.
Yeah, I wonder why. Maybe there's something going on. Compared to like maybe if I lived in like Europe, I'd be more interested in like now because there's like multiple parties. I don't know. I don't live there. So I'm caring more about the first lady is, and I'd rather have Melania over Joe Biden, who like hangs out with like the Queer Eye guys, just because I hate the Queer Eye guys. And like Melania wears pretty dresses, and I stand. Did you see her funny video that came out? It was like Out America. She was doing a talk to, and she basically called out like cancel culture of like conservative gay people.
Why they cancel me? They're canceling the conservative gays.
In America, we believe freedom for all. And as dream of slutty child in Slovenia, I thought I could be motto and first lady, and I did it. So I think gays can be shitty and gay. America truly gives all. Was that good?
That was great. I loved it was like she was in the room with us.
Yeah.
No, I know, and that's there's just this current where you're seeing what has been a simmering current for a long time, honestly, in the American quote unquote left has been how much you see all this sort of radicalism stuff is really just a sort of covert on-ramp back to the Democratic Party. Yeah. And this is, we're not the first to say this. Many have observed it, and yada, yada, yada. It's a trite observation at this point. What's funny about the last week and a half is all the masks slipping. People are throwing out the pretense. They can't even keep up the facade of I also don't like Biden, but let's talk about that later, chief. Like they're not even doing that anymore.
Buddy, pal,
champ. No, instead, right, what they're actually just going is full mask off of I can't believe you would defend a fascist. Yeah. There is a fascist in the White House.
We're losing our democracy.
Yeah. No, it's all the good
Pay
stuff.
attention.
Right, and so the problem is they're not even they're forgetting to even do the throat clearing about the fact that they know Biden's shitty. Now they're saying no, he's great. He's great. He's the one he's the anti-war one, or his record on this and that is better. It's like, why are you even trying to pretend anymore?
Yeah, there was someone who recently I was posted about Joe Biden on some foreign policy thing. Oh, sanctions on Belarus. And I would call it out. I'm this is an act of imperialist war. Because I think restricting governments because you don't like the results is problematic. But it's almost well, what about Trump and his sanctions on Iran and Cuba? I'm these all existed before, under both sides before Trump. So I don't know what you're talking about. But also I was like, oh, I also acknowledge it. I'm like, oh, sorry, I thought you were a person that didn't think we should also still remove Trump and Biden's just like still shitty. And it's like, no, I don't want either of them. I'm not going to be like, I don't want to play the game of like, who is the better option. So I think it legitimizes this like vote blue no matter who mantra, you know?
Right.
And I'm not even sure if like, I think Biden even would be the best one because the neocons all shifted to the Democratic Party, and I think they'll definitely have seats in like foreign policy. And also, I think soft power is an understated fact of imperialism, and it's more devastating to the global world than I think the bombs alone, which like are horrible because they look horrible on TV, but you don't see the 40,000 people killed for like sanctions on Venezuela, or like the 500,000 young people like killed in Iraq from sanctions. And it's like, that's not bombs killing them. It's like sanctions pushed by like the neocons who are all in the Democratic Party. And I'm like, both parties are crap. Like,
right. And this is like, the problem is we're flirting very closely here with a kind of both sides-ism, but it's actually about the ability to kind of walk and chew gum at the same time. I just simply do not and cannot subscribe to a like lesser evil theory in this particular election. Not because I think one of them is good. It's just because they are both equivalently awful in different ways. Sure. You can pick your fucking poison. Do you want cancer or AIDS? That is what you are picking to like the harm is happening either way. And so it's just a false dichotomy being presented anyway. And the people who are now lapping that shit up with their fucking rose emojis and all their fucking radical bona fides are just now like going mask off like Joe Biden 2020.
Right.
We're just stopping we're going to vote the fash out. And they've gone full fucking like Trump brain. And it's awful to watch, honestly. It's not so much awful to watch. It's awful to listen to.
Yeah.
Stop it. Stop talking to me. I'm just tweeting about tomatoes. Go away.
Well, this is the thing. Like, they're both the same side. I'm not doing both sides are bad because they're the same side. They're both sides of capital. My side is the working class who sadly are denied true, like, democracy here, access to, like, the state control. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to vote for a person that helped destroy Iraq and Libya and Yugoslavia and Honduras and so many other countries. Did nothing about the Yemen crisis or funding money to like Saudi Arabia, funding money to Israel while they're killing Palestinians. I'm like, I'm not going to vote for them. Like I think that's disgusting. And like anyone's like, you should just vote for them. Like, no, I'm not going to support a person that's killing people all over the world. Like,
well, but maybe we're just meant to hold our noses and think America first. In which case, you can turn your attention to, Trump's terrible record on crime and punishment, or his, reprehensible statements about, the good, was it decent people on both sides type stuff. Yeah, all very bad. And then, okay, if I reject all that, please allow my radicalism and my distaste for all that to be funneled back into the man who wrote the crime bill.
A person who helped accelerate the concentration camps of children that started under Obama.
Oh.
The free trade deals that destroyed working class jobs all over this country.
Right.
Like to pretend it just like, oh, well, maybe they're just bad in foreign policy. And it's like, no, he's also devastating our own working class.
Yeah,
like
bad on domestic policy too.
Like, what is he good at? Like he's
he's good at kickbacks to credit card companies and banks.
Yeah, but also like, you guys, maybe they're like, people are too young to remember like the Obama promises. Like, I'm going to end the wars. I'm going to shut down Guantanamo. Biden's doing the same stupid shit where he's trying to seem like progressive and woke. And he's like, not going to do any of it. He's going to like keep locking up people. We already see under the tech giants who are backing the Biden campaign, like the Hunter Biden stuff is being censored. Anything that's going to attack Biden is being censored and banned and restricted.
Well, yeah,
and
we'll certainly talk about a specific instance of that.
Yeah.
But even, I don't know if you saw his public statements on the dangerous looting and rioting, the unacceptable looting and rioting in Pennsylvania.
Right. Which is a DSA run city. Like
DSA run.
Like no, like that person who runs the
No,
DA.
I know the DA
DSA,
is, yeah, no.
Kind of funny.
Well, but I mean, to the point that, his this is the thing, is like there is no pushing Biden left.
No.
And so if you can imagine that his response is to come and condemn looting and violence or whatever, looting and rioting.
Yeah. When
asked a question like that, I mean, I'm sorry, I just don't know what you expect to get out of this man and why you think he's any better.
Right.
I can't convince myself of that, and nobody has even tried to make the case, because it's not a case you can make. All they're doing, like the only case people can make, is he's not Trump. You don't need to convince me Trump is a bad Cheeto orange man. I'm aware.
Yeah.
Yeah, I live in the fucking world too. It did. So I did end up voting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm gonna put it on air just so you know.
Okay.
Yeah, so people didn't hate me for it. No, I did vote for Howie Hawkins in the end. I live in California.
Yeah.
So instead of writing in Hillary Clinton, which I was going to do, I tossed Howie a vote because I think they might actually like hit my hope, or my only ambition with this election, is that they might hit a threshold. And I don't even need to like agree particularly with their, political program as much as like,
yeah,
they are running on a program of ballot access and electoral reform essentially, and I can kind of get down with that. That's fine.
Yeah,
I don't co-sign their stuff, but whatever.
I didn't vote because my ballot's at home in Oakland, which I don't really visit very often because of COVID, and most of the public transit is kind of closed, and I don't feel like paying money to go pick up a ballot so I can just vote blue no matter who. Like, it doesn't really matter. I know the result's going to be already, like, me voting, whatever. And I was going to vote for, like, I probably would have voted for Gloria Riva, but, like, I don't care.
Wow, that's a wasted vote, Sam. Wow.
Like, I know what the results are going to be.
Wow, you just want a fascist in the White House?
Yeah, California is going to be a swing state, and they're going to suddenly go Trump, which would be actually hilarious.
That would be amusing.
Like, I think people would literally cry in the streets.
Well, and so I ended up voting for Shahid against Pelosi on the basis alone of
that's fair.
He's not Pelosi. I think that's wonderful. Yet again, it's one of these ones where I don't really care. And then I got to cast a vote for Jackie Fielder for California State Senate.
She tried to cancel me, but it's fine.
Nah, she's chill.
I know.
You deserved it.
No, I didn't.
Look at what you were wearing. You were practically begging for it.
Yeah, I was wearing my my big ass bra just like popping out of my shirt.
Yeah. You were begging for a cancellation. No, it's
I like Jackie Fielder too.
No, it's she's cool. And yeah, that's it. And then there were some propositions. The actual only reason I bothered to fill out a fucking ballot in this uninspiring shit show of a legitimation narrative.
Because you're passionate about dialysis legislation.
Dialysis, regulation of dialysis clinics is really what gets me out of bed.
I'm going to explain it really quick. So people don't realize, so California has a ballot system to basically do a bunch of like legislation that everyone votes on. Every single year there's multiple legislations on like dialysis clinics, and it's like dumbest thing I ever heard of.
It's some weird system where like the private dialysis clinics have been chafing under a law that I guess made it harder for them to be shitty.
Yeah.
And they keep trying to astroturf these ballot initiatives.
They can't hire immigrant children to tap the veins of poor kidney destroyed individuals in America.
Something like that, yeah. And then there was Prop 22, which was basically that Uber and Lyft and Postmates and DoorDash and shit basically got sick of having to follow laws in California, so they just tried to rewrite them through an AstroTurf ballot initiative. If you open the Uber app in California, it just has a giant banner being like, yes, on Prop 22. It's it's like,
how is that legal?
I mean, corporations are people, my friend.
It's so bullshit. Like,
just
so stupid.
Just free speech, So anyway, and there's some other ones in there, like, I don't know. So whatever.
Yeah.
Happy election day. Isn't this just a happy time? It's just the truest expression of our brave democratic principles.
The only thing I care about the election day is our guest appearance as contributors next Tuesday.
Yeah, the live stream's
Everyday Analysis live stream, which will be us, people like Heidi Matthews and God, I forget her husband's name every single time. David Slavich.
Maybe I don't know how you actually say his name.
The Red Scare ladies, Dasha and Anna, and some other people, and it'll be really exciting. So, yeah.
Yeah, that'll be good. Check out details. Details to follow on. We'll retweet it and we'll post it on Facebook and shit like that.
But getting back to the point of like we touched on a little earlier of people kind of going mask off for like the Democratic Party. For one, a lot of them aren't even American. They're like foreigners. Like Naomi Klein, who is like, I'm going to bring that up because she's Canadian, I'm pretty sure. Is she not?
I don't know.
I think Naomi Klein's Canadian. I think I'm going to double check that really quick. But basically, Glenn Greenwald.
Author of, wonderful texts like The Shock Doctrine and The Jockstrap Doctrine.
Yeah. Well, she was kind of good, like when she was really early on, like the ideas of she's from Montreal, Canada. Like,
it's a lot of no logo, like degrowth stuff.
Yeah,
not a fan.
People need to revert back to the 1940s living standards. Like, this is the thing. She just keeps jumping years of like what living standard we should jump back to.
Right, which is a trick that conservatives play. Right, if you in terms of social conservatives will pull this trick in terms of things have gotten worse since some unspecified time in the past. Which year is it you want to go back to?
Yeah.
And they will, it's either the 1850s, sort of like the height of the industrialization process, or it's the 1950s because they just fucking love Jim Crow or something. Or,
right.
Or it's a sort of like, nuclear family thing. Like you can never quite tell.
Yeah.
And yes, so I think she is doing the same trick all the time.
Yeah, it's such crap. I've never been a huge fan of Naomi Klein. I just find it kind of like annoying, this kind of degrowth rhetoric. Because I like one from like libertarian to like a Marxist thing where they all kind of have their own critiques, but from like different perspectives. I mean, libertarians, because all capitalist growth is fine, but like the Marxist one is like realizing it's just about a distribution problem. But she basically called out Glenn Greenwald, who recently resigned from the Intercept because today, yeah, recently,
very recently,
yeah,
breaking news,
which is very surprising because he's a co-founder of the Intercept,
right?
And basically, they were trying to censor him on a piece that had critiques of Biden and the Democratic Party, and like. I mean, he's one of the few good journalists left in the world, like in the U.S.
Yeah, and a friend of the pod.
Yeah.
So I will quote from his resignation that he posted on Substack this morning. He says, "The same trends of repression, censorship, and ideological homogeneity plaguing the national press generally have engulfed the media outlet I co-founded, culminating the censorship of my own articles." And he goes on and says, "Today I sent my intention to resign from The Intercept, the news outlet I co-founded in 2013 with Jeremy Scahill and Laura Poitras, as well as from its parent company First Look Media. The final precipitating cause is that The Intercept's editors, in violation of my contractual right of editorial freedom, censored an article I wrote this week, refusing to publish it unless I remove all sections critical of Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden.
Right.
The candidate vehemently supported by all New York-based Intercept editors involved in this effort at suppression." So it's interesting in terms of he published the receipts in terms of the correspondence between him and the editors over this piece, which, as I understand it, were sort of about like Hunter Biden and the connections to Joe Biden, and then around the sort of the media silence on what has been found to be true here and what has not been substantiated yet. And so the correspondence sort of teases out, I guess, the objection was not over any factual issue. It was about a framing issue.
Yeah.
And he's meant to have sort of essentially, his contract was essentially meant to mean that he was not subject to that kind of editorial control. And so he rage quit, and, good on him.
Yeah. Like he's not going to have an issue finding a new job. He's like a top journalist and clearly had some of the most like prolific breakthroughs in the media within my lifetime. I mean, the Edward Snowden stuff, the Lula false imprisonment stuff, shit like that. So, but also it's like making the gays proud. Like, he makes us gays proud because he's like being a savage king against like these people who are kind of like, I imagine all like horrible like New York City libs who are like, no, 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 don't be mean to our king. Like, and he's like, nah, bitch. Like,
well, it's the same narrative we had during 2016, which was that anybody is seen to be getting in the way of the coronation, is an enemy of the people, and it's once you sort of entangle the righteousness that these people feel in their right to anoint a leader,
right?
Because they know what's best, against a backdrop of, you can just keep amping up the stakes by saying Trump is a literal fascist, he's a Nazi, he's Pol Pot, he literally murdered baby Jesus. Like, whatever, you can just get away with saying anything.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter why you say it. You can say anything you want.
He created AIDS.
Yep, he definitely did that. He invented, worse than that, he invented monkeys just so they could throw shit at each other. Yeah, bad guy. And so the problem is then, as if you can just amp up the stakes all the time, then the proportional punishment to somebody interfering with the anointing of the crown, is can be infinite, right? There are no stakes not worth taking. Like, and you saw Naomi Klein, as you said, take to Twitter and be all like, "Wow, Glenn, you're feeding into this."
Well, she didn't just do that. She also linked like, kind of like a fundraiser from like, donate to them or give money to them. The Intercept.
To the Intercept. Oh.
As well as Ryan Grimm did. He's also like tied to the Intercept and basically was like, Glenn's my friend, but he's wrong. It's like to me, like, I don't know, like I know the media and political world is kind of a world full of like backstabbing bitches, because I used to work in that world kind of, and like people are fake and will do anything to advance their career. But I'm like, clearly, like, I would never be like, oh, they're my friend, but I think they're full of shit. Like, that's not your friend then. Like Lee Fang, I looked his up and he supported Glenn Greenwald. I'm like, see, that's what you do if you're a friend. Like, you back up a person who's like clearly being censored.
Well, I mean, and to the extent that the Intercept as a project was conceived of as one where there was sort of very little editorial oversight, the idea being that you would publish stuff that is controversial or tough to report on. And so Glenn Greenwald's complaint in his very well-written resignation statement, which includes the full text of his actual resignation email, is that, it's not tenable, right? I mean, that it probably will come off to most people as a relatively minor slight and like he's being a bit of a baby.
Yeah.
But it is worth understanding that like he started it, and he started it with the intention that it would not do this, and then it did it, and so he's like, well, fuck all y'all, and I mean, good on him for it.
It's sadly a result of like what happens to most media that attempts to be independent. I mean, Mother Jones is a popular example. Mother Jones is like socialist, and now it's like the most like cringe like Hillary Mom Wine Club, or like even like Current Affairs like had like some decent writers early on, and now just like the cringe anarchist shit we all hate.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think Current Affairs suffers from a different problem, which was that being good writers was never their problem. having a coherent politics that was separable from the Democratic Party is their main issue. And they're another one that's gone kind of just full mask off. Nathan J. Robinson, particularly, has just gone like
doing a club of Fausch.
Yeah, it's just full Biden, anarcho-Bidenism. They're just like, this is our guy. We don't have to like it. They can do the appropriate throat clearing of like, oh yes, we'd rather not. But then they'll berate anybody who comes to a different conclusion on any grounds. They're like,
yeah, this
is clearly the better alternative. Why is this even a question? You're a bad person for even thinking this is a question. And it's just the same tedious shit we've been subjected to kind of forever in this country. So
yeah, I just
whatever.
Have no respect for it. I think just like I don't know. There's supposed to be a certain level of like integrity within the world of journalism, which I know is like a lot of it's just like an illusion told to you when you go to like school and like, oh well, it's super objective, and that's kind of bullshit. We all know that. But like, there's very few journalists who have this good sense to challenge the establishment, which I think is the most important thing for journalism. And clearly, the few that do just get attacked ruthlessly by the blue check marks in the media, people pioneering for like the next like Fox News or CNN or MSNBC like headliner. Because if they say the wrong thing, they're done. They're gone. They're banned. They're like fired.
Right. Yeah. And you know, that's the interesting thing about somebody like Glenn Greenwald is his personal politics are actually not what makes him a compelling writer.
Right.
You know, I think he's kind of a good left liberal and like whatever.
Yeah.
He's pretty upfront about like his desires there, and that's cool. Like but what has always made him a good journalist is a certain level of personal bravery and just an actual adherence to the liberal principles, as in the civil libertarian principles. You don't even have to think he's right. It's just rather rare to come across people who will not lie to you about what they think themselves.
Right.
Then that's, you know, so the thing is that's worthy of our admiration and respect. I would say that the right wing has the almost exclusive lock on that tradition these days, which is kind of shitty. Whereas they're never afraid to tell you what they really think.
Yeah, at least on certain issues.
Right.
I mean,
there's plenty where they'll equivocate, I'm sure.
Yeah. BDS, like Israel.
Yeah. No, that's for sure. But at least it's not considered a controversial position, except perhaps on a few issues like abortion and gun rights or something.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I'm not, like I said, I'm not too worried for Glenn. I feel like he'll just create something new. And him
and his dogs will bounce back.
I imagine other writers might resign in the next coming week as well. Like, I feel like there has to be some of that, like, because Glenn is such a respectable guy. I think to not do so kind of helps legitimize the poor business tactics of like the Intercept right now. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, he did have the legitimate grievance that they have fundraised on his name and credibility.
Yeah.
For a long time now, and yet have essentially sort of excluded him from editorial decisions, which, you know, I think is a fair cop. I did hear today that you and River have staged a revolt at twinkrev.com as well.
To be fair, River did what all good bourgeois minorities do, and he proclaimed to be the voice of the masses. So River spoke for me. But also, your fucking fridge quiz took me for, because like you posted in the like live stream with me and River, because there's a hurricane where River's living right now. Hopefully his house isn't destroyed again. And I was like, what the fuck? There's a quiz? And I see a refrigerator quiz, and I have no context for this. But there's a refrigerator quiz on New York Times. You want to, like, what was it about?
Oh, yeah. So the New York Times published this infuriating fucking, like, just the most mawkish shit where it was, you had to look at pictures of the contents of refrigerators and choose whether it was a Biden fridge or a Trump fridge. And then sometimes it would ask you a follow-up of, like, if you said it was like a Trump fridge, then it would say, click on items you see that make you think it's a Trump fridge. And so it turns out, like, the batting average of, you know, all people who'd taken this was like 52% or 53%, which is basically chance.
Yeah.
So I think that either they were trying to make a sort of ham-fisted point about class signifiers, or I think they were maybe trying to make an even dippier point, which was like, look, we're all the same. But whatever the fuck point was behind it, it was just infuriating to me. So I decided to make a Twink Rev quiz where you had to try and detect dark psychic energy in fridges.
Do you see Miller Lite in the refrigerator or Heineken and craft IPAs everyone thinks is gross, but buy still because they're bourgeois shitholes?
Yeah, no, exactly. So anyway, yes, you can go take the is this a good fridge or a bad fridge quiz
love that.
from twinkrev.com.
I even saw like a BuzzFeed video. It was like the Good Full channel, just like the health and lifestyle one. And it was like 12 things you didn't know about Biden's like environmental like Green New Deal plan. I'm like, for one, like he's not doing a Green New Deal. That's complete bullshit. But like if he does do one, it's just gonna be giant corporate handouts to like billionaire like energy companies to like shift over to like really crappy windmills
Biofuels.
and like biofuels and like fracking.
I know. I will ban less fracking than you, Orange Cheeto bad man.
I'm also not like one who's like adamant like fracking is like just bad. I'm like, maybe just pause it until you do the research. Like I'm not like I don't know enough about it.
It's pretty bad.
No, it's pretty bad. But, like there's also a lot of like research that hasn't really been done into this stuff.
Yeah, I mean it's an extractive industry that's sort of net new, and so in some ways, whether it displaces other carbon-rich fuels like coal and oil, fine. It's very unpleasant for the communities where it actually happens. We know that. It's also kind of a process which geologically is a little suspect.
Yeah.
And then it's just not clear that driving down the price of energy to keep profits high is a good idea.
And before anyone's like, oh, Sam's fracking lever. I'm like, no, I just think it's valid to ask questions about like and ask for more research. I think it should be paused because there's clearly concerns. I'm pro
a moratorium on all new steel mills.
I'm pro nuclear. I think we should build up nuclear, and that's the energy source that will help free most of the U.S. in the world. That's my hot take, and that's also going to get hate.
Scorching hot take, like a uranium fuel rod.
I want everywhere to be Chernobyl.
Yeah, that's true. Well, hopefully we might have a guest in the not too distant future who can come talk about nuclear power with us.
Why it's bad? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, bad.
It's just bad. We're gonna degrow. I'm Naomi Klein.
I'm currently frantically using a Sharpie to cover up the logos on my Nikes.
She's Canadian. She's using the Sharpie to do blackface.
No, come on. She's not a prime minister.
Not yet.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I think that's a good enough Halloween episode.
Spooky.
Yeah, so spooky. Yeah, so anyway, check out, I don't know, we'll probably be around doing a live stream on Halloween, honestly. You can see us in our sad last-minute costumes.
I'm going to look so good. I'm going to wear like a full-on like veil with like a crown. And
That's hot.
I'm going to wear a lot of makeup because like it's Halloween, so.
Might as well, yeah.
Yeah.
I will just be sitting behind 3 tomato plants. That's going to be my costume.
Gian literally brought tomato plants inside of his house because he was worried they're too cold outside.
They needed light. I put them on the grow lights. Hey, do not get between me and my plants. Those are fighting words.
Gian's a plant sexual, guys.
I am. Ecosexual.
Yeah. Have you heard of those actually?
Is that a thing?
Yeah, there's people that have like sex with the earth and they like rub like the soil and the plants all over their naked bodies. Mostly like women who are like eco-primitivists.
Oh, don't tell people what I get up to. I'm not on the pod.
I think there was like a weird Vice special like I saw like, I don't know, 5-6 years ago. It was like these like weird chicks who go to the wood and like rub like shit in the woods on their bodies, and it's like they feel like they're having sex with the earth, and like
that's hot.
That's clearly like a mental illness.
That's eroticism, pure, unadulterated.
Love it.
Well, and with that, thanks for joining us, guys. See you later.
Bye.